have Sean Power here. Sean is with the Department of Natural Resources and Renewables. He's a registered professional forester that has spent most of his 25 working years in harvest operations and operational planning, focusing on GPS, LiDAR, and drone technology. Sean graduated from the College of North Atlantic in Corner Brook, Newfoundland. That's where you get that, you'll hear that lovely accent. Obtaining his forest technician diploma, then continuing to complete his BSc at Lakehead University in Thunder Bay, Ontario. We won't hold that against you, Sean. If you didn't go to UNB like most of us. Sean is the manager of private land scaling at the Department of Natural Resources and Renewables, DNR, in Nova Scotia, and he's leading the implementation of the silviculture guide for the ecological matrix and the high production legs of the triad that you've been hearing so much about. So we're really glad that Sean can be with us today. Sean, the mic is yours. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Bo, if you're still in the room, I grew up with a Finnish carpenter as a father, and I have my own crack at doing some woodworking and furniture stuff, but your work is impeccable. And I could just appreciate the patience that you had for doing this work. So it really, your slides are excellent this morning, and you really hit me, so it's good. I don't know how you fit 48 hours and 24 hours, but somehow you made it work. So today I did do a lot of work. I'm still currently doing a lot of work on the silviculture guide and the high production leg. But here what I'm talking about today, part of my role, or my new role is with the department, is private land programs. So we have a lot of programs with the department, and I'm going to be looking after the scaling for the department as well. So it seems we're at a Woodlot owner conference with a lot of private landowners. I'm going to really focus on what we can do and what our services are for private land in the province. So I'm going to start off, and the government is very confusing, and I've only been in here 3 years, and I'm learning a lot. I'm still learning a lot on where we all fit and what programs are out there and who reports to who. So I figured I'd just put a few slides together to tell people kind of how private land fits in the government, where it fits as well. So we have, of course, our Minister, our Natural Resources, Tori Ruskin, and underneath, or working for the Minister, will be our Deputy Minister. And under the Deputy Minister, or programs that the Deputy Minister are responsible for, you can see the list of them all here. And every time you're going to see a green bucket, it's going to keep going deeper and deeper into where private land programs go. So one of the departments that roll into the Deputy Minister, of course, is our Forestry and Wildlife. Inside our Forestry and Wildlife branch, we have a couple different divisions. We have a Forestry division, which is based at Truro. We have a Wildlife, I get that a little closer, sorry. We have a Wildlife division that's based out of Kentville. We have a Forest Economic and Development division that's also based out of Halifax. And then Resource Management in green would be where I work, and that would be under that would be based out of Truro as well. So that's where private land programs are going to fit. So when we go inside the Resource Management division, we're looking at two sides. On one side, we've got Crown Land, folks that work directly on the Crown Land piece, and then we've got all things private land on the other side. So this is where what we're going to be talking about today and all the programs we've got today. So as of last year, we used to have private land programs falling under different parts of the department, but it was a little bit confusing. So we end up putting all things private land under one place in the department now. So we've got one line of folks that we can talk to around private land stuff. So, and of course we've got Dale who works at Halifax, and of course most people in this room probably know Simon. He's in the back there hiding away, but he's always at these events and been around for a long time. So Simon is a familiar face for everyone here. Okay, so I'm going to talk about private land silviculture, and I'm really hoping I'm not telling anybody that they don't already know. I'm just going to reiterate a lot of these programs. Hopefully landowners have been using these programs. There's some new things that I am going to talk about today. But we're going to talk about the private land program. We're going to talk about the assistance Mr. Harrison was talking about around Fiona, what's out there, what's still available out there, the money that's still available today, and some more money that we're putting into that. We're going to talk about the roads program for Forest Nova Scotia, and we're going to talk about the private land woodland service groups that are all around the province as well. So I just wanted to, and I'm glad I'm doing this because we find an opportunity to go around and talk to people, because when I'm talking to some landowners sometimes, I talk about the programs, sometimes people don't really understand the programs are there, and it's assistance, it's non-refundable assistance to help landowners to come back with whatever projects they're doing on their woodlot that will qualify here. So So I really want to make sure people are really aware of these and are using them, because it's just money coming back. So our private land silviculture program is kind of a two-split. On the right-hand side, we have agreements with the mills that when mills purchase wood from private land, they need to put silviculture back to private land. So we kind of have a funding mechanism through that. There's been $1.9 million. We worked with them to get private land silviculture completed through them. And then the other part, we have another $1.9 million annually that we fund through the Association of Sustainable Forestry, and Paul's in the room right now, and I've seen Ben walk in here as well. So there's some folks in the room that work through that, and Ed McLean's really the person that runs that program. So the association on an annual budget is there really to provide silviculture assistance help for contractors and landowners for getting silviculture on your land. And when Mr. Harris was talking earlier about increasing that based on last year and providing funding to make sure this is always a little bit ahead, we can do a little bit more planning. In the past, it used to be an annual agreement, and we would wait for the budget to go through and say, okay, yes, we're having enough money to do silviculture this year. Well, that's a little bit too late when you're talking about silviculture planning. So they doubled up that budget a couple of years ago, so we're always running a couple of years ahead. So we just funded the ASF for silviculture funding for 2025. So now we're always paying ahead, so we always know we have that silviculture ahead. But we also have a 3-year agreement with the ASF. We're always going to keep doing this. So we're always trying to keep paying that forward, so we always are guaranteed that we're going to have some silviculture here. So we can kind of get contractors doing a little bit more planning and get some work done, as well as landowners. Private land, Fiona. Fiona hit us. We took a lot of helicopter flights around the province. It was absolutely devastating to Crown land, to private land, to anybody who was in the working area. So we very quickly decided we've got to do something really quick on this. We've all got a mess on our hands. So again, we put very fast. I think it was probably within 2 weeks or something in a boardroom to put together some kind of mechanism to try to help with the cleanup for Fiona. So we were able to get $5 million for this program. The government put aside, and it was all about the hardwood and softwood cleanup of people that were affected by the Fiona wind. And when we created different categories: severe, blended, moderate, and previously treated areas. And as well with that, with landowners, we also know the wind didn't care where it blew. It destroyed boundary lines, it destroyed everything. So we had to think about reestablishing boundary lines, because from landowners and foresters and people being around the woods, it's very important to know where your land is and keep the record of your boundary lines. So we decided we'd better get a boundary line program in place as well, so we could get some things cleaned up. So there's also some some money there towards that. So correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, we are still about over $1 million left in that program. We've got one more year to do that right now, so there's still $1 million there. We talked about cleaning up almost 7,600 hectares, which is unbelievable. It's a lot of ground, but there's still over $1 million left in that budget. So if people still are cleaning up wood from Fiona and haven't tapped into this program, there's money, there's assistance there to help you as a landowner get it cleaned up, help contractors, help truckers, and help people move that wood to, because we know it's very unproductive work. So there is assistance there through the ASF for that. So we still got another year, and there's still money there on that one. Low-grade fiber challenge. This is a brand new one. If people who were in the West heard about this, people who were in the Contractor Association meeting yesterday heard about this. We heard about it this morning. This is a very new program. We know there's a low-grade fiber challenge in this province with the closure of Northern Pulp. This program is not going to fix that problem, but it's going to. We decided we're going to throw another $7 million to try to clean up woodlots, because we focused on a lot of woodlot cleanup last year with good products that we can move, and we know we got a very, very big problem of moving fiber, low-grade fiber in the province. So we're putting a program out there to incent people and try to get. I'll try to get the really proposals into us about how we can move this product. So we've got $7 million that we're putting into getting proposals to help landowners move the product, help mills get the product the whole way through the value stream, because we know there's still a whole bunch of blowdown wood for pulpwood and low-grade fiber that's sitting out there today, and products like poplar and things like that we can't move and we're having challenges with. So we're given $7 million to come up with ideas, and we didn't want to come here and say, here are all the ideas we're going to say we want to do it. We want the ideas to come from the sector. And what we've learned so far in the week or so that we've rolled this out is there are so many ideas that are coming at us that we would never have thought about. So that's why we really want this coming from the sector. So this is a brand new one. You're going to hear about it. I believe the ASF is going to talk about that today, and I think their website is talking about getting proposals and applications for this. So that's one to be thinking about a little bit, some crafty ideas about moving that low-grade wood in the province. So there's some money in that one today. Private Land Roads Program, Fiona Roads Program. So in 2023, we put $1 million because we know Fiona, there was also some challenges around Fiona about accessing your woodlots and blow down woodlots. So in 2023, put $1 million in to help landowners apply for this road funding so that you can clean up roads and get roads fixed up to access the woodlot, to get in to clean up the woodlot as well. With brushing, culvert, ditching, putting in culverts and bridges. That program is administered through the Forest Nova Scotia, and I saw Todd's in the room. He's going to have a chat about this again today. So that started in 2023 with $1 million. We chewed up that $1 million pretty quickly. It took a year, but we did a very good job of getting that money out. The Forest Nova Scotia did. So we're putting another $1 million into that for this year. So we want to, and a couple things we're doing. We're changing some of the criteria. And Todd, I might be stealing your thunder here in a row, but for some folks that aren't going to, I know it's a bit of a breakout sessions after. What we're doing is we're going to increase some of the funding on the activities for brushing and stuff like that. And then anybody who applied and got the Fiona program last year, we're going to pay some of that back retroactive if you already got funding for it. So if we're increasing the rates for this year, we're going to back pay to anybody who had that program last year to make it consistent for 2 years. So we're throwing another $1 million at that because we really still see the need for keep cleaning up roads on that. So if you haven't applied for that program through the Forest Nova Scotia, please do it. And the other thing is too, Forest Nova Scotia applications are now open. Todd's going to talk about that a little bit later. And we're really putting in the application question here when you put the application in. Did you get impacted by Fiona? Because we want to force people to get in and use this money up because we want to allow for more money in the other programs as well. So. There was a survey sent out in March about some changes around the gas tax program, and which I'll talk about in a second. But we also had some feedback from the Fiona program as well. So we sat in the room together, Forest Nova Scotia. We listened to the feedback. We looked at some common themes, and we made changes to the program as well. So increasing some of the rates on the programs. The application process is changing a little bit. So there's a few changes that we have made very quickly. To try to accommodate that, and I'm sure next year we'll make some changes again. So, but we did add more money because we still feel the need that there's more to do here. So it was what we call, so these are the changes. One of the big ones, which I never thought about, Todd brought it to my attention when we were in a room, is we never had a new road building category for Fiona. It was all about maintaining your old roads and your woodlot to go access wood for Fiona. And the challenge is there's another program I'm going to talk about, it's called the gas tax program, is about building new roads. And we're thinking like, now there's people building new roads to access some Fiona wood that could be taking money from the other programs. So let's find a way to get people into this Fiona money, a different bucket of money, it's all. So we created a mechanism where we can actually build new roads for the Fiona money because we understand sometimes you own a woodlot and what blew down is in a corner of your woodlot that was probably never accessed, and you still need to build that road to get that timber and that fiber. So we created that category so people could use that one as well. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier. And then the program changes. It used to be a first come, first serve, where we got their application in the fastest, got the funding. Now we're opening it up as it's going to be an application window. So everyone's getting a fair shot at that, and then we're going to do some screening on the applications to see who qualify. And then last year, the big change last year was as well, was a GPS file. We need to track this stuff internally. So handing paper maps and all that is very difficult. So if people could provide their own GPS files, that's very good. There's a lot of services that can help with that. Or Forest Nova Scotia can also help with that as well if you need that file. But we have to pay a little bit to get that file done. But if you can provide your own file, that's great. And we'll take your files from you and provide the funding that way. The gas tax program, it's been going on since the late 60s, I believe. I did some research. It's been going on a long time. $720,000 in that program. And that one is really just about private landowners who need to build roads to maintain their private landowners or build new roads. There's a little bit of a funding mechanism. It's not the largest amount right now. Hoping to work on that. But right now, same thing, ditching, brushing, graveling, grading, culverts, bridges, new road construction. So I talked to a few people this morning around the booths and people that were just, you know, we own a woodlot and we're doing a little bit of road. And I said, well, did you hear about this program? And I was hoping the answer was yes, but I'm still hearing some people that are really just starting to get to know what these programs are. So there's funding in these programs. Please use them. That one there, again, is done by the Forest Nova Scotia. So Todd in the room here again. So please use them because they're great programs. I believe they're great programs to use. Some other things that we offer for services, and that kind of fall into the private land, these Woodland Conferences. I've been at a few of them the last few years, but now I'm getting more and more involved with my role here. So these are amazing conferences to get involved with and really to share information about what people are doing. Simon in the back, most people know Simon in the room here. He does a lot of work with these conferences, and he's got a list of duties miles long that I can't put on this slideshow to talk about what he does. But one of the ones that I do want to talk about, which I think is really awesome, and there's pamphlets out on his table out there, is the home study program. So it's a home study program for people who want to learn about woodlot management, and this right now, Simon, this program has gone through Canada right now. It's gone federally right now through Canada, so it's picking up a lot of steam. Simon's worked really hard at this. It's been off our website for a year, but we now got it back on a learning platform website, so there's a way to log in, but it is digitally. But it's all about working through chapters, and you get a certificate as you do your chapters. I just want to put a bit of a shout out on that one. And then, of course, the Woodlot Owner of the Year. We sponsor the Woodlot Owner of the Year and get involved with that as well, and we all know how important that program is. So just a slide showing what the home study program is. There's a bit of a step-by-step to get into it, and then it's really about, there's I believe 16 or 18 chapters on managing woodlots, right from owning the woodlot right to in silviculture all the way to managing for climate. So private land service area programs we also support, and we have all across the province. These service area programs, we provide funding. They are there designed to help with people to do silviculture and really organize and do silviculture and line up people to do silviculture in woodlot and tap into some of these programs as well. So there's a lot of professionals there to help with that. They also perform management plans, things like management plans on your woodlot as well, certification. So there's a bunch of them around. We've heard a few this morning actually being talked about it as well again. So, and then part of our group in the private land program, we have supports for First Nation camps, some very, very good school events there. CWF, the Atlantic Teachers Tour is a really good one. The Envirothon that's happening very, very closely. So we're trying to also have some funding mechanism or some support for the next generation of landowners for the education come through. So Atlantic Teacher Tours, the Envirothons, all that, really trying to find mechanisms to get the younger generation in as well. And in my mind, we can't do enough through the Atlantic Teacher Tour, and he was blown away by the response they got. So he's got an ambition to really go harder at those events for the younger folks. So which is good to hear, because we just like seedlings, we need to grow our next generation. And I think that's all. Ripped through that pretty quick, but